Welcome back to another edition of Arizona Wildcats Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Hutchison, and game day is finally here. Game number 2 of Arizona's 2025 college football season will be underway tonight as the Wildcats take on the Weber State Wildcats in Arizona Stadium on ESPN+. You can stream the game there. Let's do a quick recap of this previous week. The Wildcats came off of an impressive 34-point win over Hawaii, where the offense was able to rush for 183 yards on the ground, led by Quincy Craig, who had 7 carries, 125 yards, and a touchdown. One of those runs was a 54-yard touchdown run that got a good chunk of his yardage there. Arizona was able to hit the running game. They're able to find the holes and really wear down Hawaii throughout the process of that game. Defensively, they got better as the game went along. I thought Hawaii did a good job in the first half, keeping it somewhat close. I believe the halftime score was 17-6. They were able to move the ball, run a little bit. Danny Gonzalez was not happy with the effort defensively in that first half, but the Wildcats held them to 2 field goals. And after that, it was all Arizona. Arizona went on to turn them over 5 times, sacking them 5 times, which forced Hawaii to end the game with 67 yards rushing and 290 yards of total offense. That's a great defensive performance. I know Coach Gonzalez wasn't thrilled about the rushing yardage and stuff like that, but when you look at it, that is the least amount of points Arizona's held an FBS opponent in the non-conference to since 2010, when the Wildcats beat Toledo on the road 41-2. Now, it's the second time in the last year that Arizona hasn't allowed a touchdown, dating back to their previous win last season against Houston, beating the Houston Cougars 27-3. But I want to focus on the rushing game right there. 67 yards. That's the lowest amount of rushing yards the Wildcats have allowed since 2023, when they faced off against the Washington State Cougars on the road, pulverizing WSU 44-6, where they only allowed 35 yards rushing. That's Desert Swarm-like numbers. So I thought Arizona did a terrific job defensively against Hawaii. I'd give them a B. I think there's room for improvements. Again, no touchdown, 6 points, 5 turnovers, 5 sacks. What is there to complain about? I thought Hawaii left some opportunities out there on the field. Could have walked away with a couple touchdowns. And if you play a better opponent, I don't think the score is what it was. So I would give Arizona a B on offense. On defense. Offensively, 40 points is impressive. But the passing game was very weak to start the game, but finished strong with Noah Fafita going 13 of 23, 161 yards, a touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. He got stronger as the game went along. The receiving core was a little banged up. I thought the offensive line did a terrific job. I'll give Arizona's offense a B as well. I'll give Nova Fida a B-. I thought he could have been much better in that game and taken what was in front of him in that game. The week leading up to Weber State, Brennan talked about it, how there were 5 7-yard passes right there in front of Noah, that he just has to take those and not so much rely on the deep ball. Now, you want to have some deep balls, 100%, but you can't live and die by it. And this offense isn't a deep ball offense. It's a get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quick, get it to playmakers in space, and see what they can do. And that's what is the strength of Noah Fafita. So he's just got to trust his guys. Again, some guys are banged up. You haven't played with some dudes because they've been with the second-team offense, but due to circumstance, they're with the first-team offense. So we'll see how that progresses. Now, in the week leading up to Weber State, there was some interesting news. Tight end Tyler Powell, who I thought was going to have a terrific season for Arizona this year, potentially have around 5 to 7 touchdowns with 400 to 500 yards. I thought he was going to be a red zone threat for the Wildcats. He's done for the season. It's unfortunate. It's an undisclosed injury by the coaching staff. It looked like a lower leg injury. Again, the full details of that injury and if he's having surgery on said injury, whatever it is, hasn't been disclosed yet. but he is done for the season. That is a massive blow for Arizona. I know the tight end room has depth in comparison to the last couple of years. Well, 2023 was very good, but in comparison to last year. But Keon Burnett didn't play last week. He was hurt. Keon Burnett's whole entire career at Arizona has been he's hurt. So it's hard to rely upon a guy like Keon to be there when he hasn't been there a lot of the time, where he's been banged up and injured. Given whatever circumstance, he has a hard time staying healthy. So how do you rely upon that? That's a problem. Sam Olsen, terrific. I think he's just steady Eddie, is an old saying. Just goes about his business, does his job. And then he has some transfers and stuff like that, but it's a little thin in that tight end room right now with the uncertainty of Keon Burnett. Now, Keon gets healthy. Keon plays at a high level, and we see a better blocking Keon out there. I think that will lead to more success for Arizona, and they'll be fine. But you have to prove it. You got to show me. This season for Keon Burnett, again, tremendous talent. His father, Chester, U of A alum, great dude, great family. This is a put up or shut up year. You're a 4-star recruit, highly talented, have all the tools to be an NFL guy. You have an Evan Ingram body, but you can't stay healthy. You got to play games. The best ability in college football and college athletics and any sport is availability. You got to prove it. So let's see what Keon Burnett does if he does play against Weber State. Let's see how he progresses. So that was one thing. 2, the honorary team captain for Arizona going into this game will be none other than number 2, David Adams, the former U of A running back of the 80s, was one of the top backs of the Wildcats for the 1980s. In that 86 season, he helped lead Arizona to a Aloha Bowl, and they knocked off ASU at home, extending the streak and beating Jeff Van Rappaport's and those Sun Devils, not kicking them out of the Rose Bowl. They already locked up a Rose Bowl, but another loss to Big Brother for ASU when it comes to Arizona football. David Adams, he's going to be the honorary team captain, NFL player, played in the NFL for a couple years. When you look at compact running backs with a great combination of power and speed, David Adams is at the top of that list. Him, Keela Antolin, guys like that. But it all starts with David Adams being that one dude. So he's going to be the honorary team captain. Again, this game is going to be on ESPN Plus. We have gotten some look at Weber State. It's a little bit difficult given that they played James Madison, who right now is beating Louisville. Looks pretty good. We'll see how that game finishes tomorrow morning. But it's hard to judge them. They have a really athletic quarterback in Jackson, who is 6'2", 215 pounds of pure muscle. He can sling it. However, there's turnover issues against James Madison, who's looked tremendous against Louisville. And it brings the question, can Arizona do the same thing? I mean, they got 5 turnovers against Hawaii, and they got 5 sacks. Are they able to have that same success against Weber State? I look at this matchup, and, I've tried to look at it and see how it could be close. The fact of the matter is, I think you have a pissed-off Arizona defense because the defense coordinator was unhappy with their play last week. I think you have a Noah Fafita looking to prove something because he had a little bit of an underwhelming performance. You have guys trying to find their place on the roster, and you have an opportunity to play younger guys in the second half. To me, this is not a trap game for Arizona. This is one of those games where I think Arizona is going to be able to play a guy like Braden Locke in the second half, maybe midway through the third quarter. And we'll see what he can do. I don't expect much passing at that point. Probably more of a power run type of play. But I don't think this game's very close. I think Arizona's extremely talented. I think they're more physical. I think they're tougher up front. And I think they're just more athletic. So I got Arizona winning this game 52-0. Why a shutout? Because I think the defense is looking to make a point. I think you're going to see 4 or 5 sacks again. And I think you're going to see 4 to 5 turnovers created again. I think this defensive unit is looking to make a point, and I think the offense rolls, and I think Noah Fafita will have around 180 yards by the end of that first half. Now, if he does that and they're up 32-0 or 35-0, he might not play the second half. So his stats, I don't think, will be in the 400 range. I don't think this will be a stat-padding game. I just think Arizona's going to take care of business right away. They're going to handle Weber State and get ready for the Kansas State Wildcats. So I got Arizona 52-0. They lock up their second one of the season and get closer to bowl eligibility, being 4 games away from making a bowl game. So enjoy the game. Enjoy our coverage on Arizona Wildcats on SI. Check out our Twitter account, Arizona Wildcats on SI, at Arizona Wildcats on SI. Or check out me, Troy Hutchison, T Hutch 1995. And we'll see you next time.